So, Solo, A Star Wars Story is finally here. After months of production troubles, changes of director, people saying that the actors weren't very good, the film is finally here. But obviously what everyone wants to know, is this film any good? And I am a huge Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars. It is my favourite franchise. I've said this before, but I always look at the Star Wars films impartially. There's films I love in this series and films I absolutely hate. Now, what we want to know, is this film any good? And for me, no. The film wasn't very good. It's such a shame to say, but I wasn't surprised the film wasn't that good. With all the production troubles that went on with this film, the poor marketing campaign in my opinion, and the fact that the general audience just didn't seem that buzzed to see this film. I mean, I know people who didn't even realise this film was out. But let's go into why I didn't really enjoy it, and some parts that actually I did enjoy. Now, firstly, I want to talk about what I did enjoy about this film, because there are aspects of this film that actually I did enjoy. Firstly, Alden Ehrenreich, I think that's how you pronounce his name, probably isn't. He gives a solid performance. He does well with the script that's given to him. I didn't believe, though, he was Han Solo. You could name his character everything, and you wouldn't bat an eyelid. You wouldn't go, oh yeah, no, that's actually Han Solo. But he does give a good performance. He does well. So I did enjoy his performance, and I think people saying he wasn't a good actor in the lead up to this film was probably wrongly unjustified. Also, Donald Glover, he is fantastic as Lando. He's so charismatic, he's so charming in the role, and I really enjoyed him and Alden Ehrenreich's chemistry on screen. They acted well together, they really bounced off one another, so that was a good performance to see from both of them. And talking about the actors, it is very well acted on the whole. There's very good casting choices made here. Paul Bettany's very good, Woody Harrelson's good, Jon Favreau as his little monkey arm character, he's very good. So the problems I have with this film is not the acting. Everyone acted very well, they did excellently. It's just the train robbery scene is a good scene. It had some tension in it. It was quite interesting to watch. It was a good action scene. I also enjoyed how Han Solo met Chewbacca, although was Chewbacca eating people before he met Han Solo? It looks that way, but still was a nice way to see them meet. And really, that's about what I enjoyed in the film. I enjoyed when Donald Glover was on screen. Some of the action scenes are good. They build some tension. So that's kind of all I really enjoyed. So let's get on to sort of what I didn't like. So what didn't I like about this film? Now, the main thing I did not like is it's just boring. It's boring and nothing, really. It's nothing new. It doesn't add anything to the Star Wars universe. It's just a very run-of-the-mill, no risk taken film. I mean, it's not a bad film. It's just nothing. It doesn't push the envelope at all. It just gets from A to B. Very generic story. And it's a real shame. I want to see more risk taken in Star Wars. This is a reason why I enjoyed The Last Jedi as much as I did. At least it was something different. They were willing to roll the dice on a film. They were willing to take some different turns and give something we weren't expecting. Han Solo was exactly what I was expecting from this film. I thought it would be very boring and just a story we've seen before. Another thing I didn't really like about the film is it didn't feel like Star Wars. Now, when I think of Star Wars, one of the main things I think of is the score. I love the score to Star Wars, and this just had nothing memorable in the film. No score that got me tension when watching, got me on the edge of my seat. Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rogue One all had fantastic scores, and the score always just pushes you, draws you in, but Solo: A Star Wars Story didn't have that. The start of this film is very chunky, very all over the place. It doesn't flow very well, and I think that is one of the places Ron Howard had to come in and try and get the film sorted. Obviously, 80% of this film apparently was reshot, so it is commendable that they were able to get an actual flowing story, but the first part is a bit choppy, and I could tell maybe a few reshoots went on there. Now, the one aspect I really dislike about this film, and that is that Han Solo basically starts the rebellion. I think it really takes away from his character that we see in A New Hope. In A New Hope, he was just a smuggler who did what he wanted. He did things on his own terms. He didn't really care about the rebellion and the Empire. He just wanted to earn his money any way he could, and didn't care who he pissed off in the end. And when he's roped into helping Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan, he doesn't really want to do it. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to get involved in all this fighting that's going on. And when he has his first chance to run, he does run. He gets away from it. He doesn't want to be part of it. He's got his money, and that's all he wanted. That's all he cares about. And he comes back because he is growing as a character. He's starting to care. But for this film to say, actually, he's always cared. He's always had a heart of gold, and he actually helped the rebellion because it was the right thing to do. If this was the Han Solo from A New Hope, he would have taken the fuel that he gave to rebellion and sold it himself, because that's the character he is. He hasn't grown yet. He hasn't developed relationships like he did with Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, and I guess Obi-Wan to a point. So I thought it was a really unneeded thing in this film. I've said I wanted a film away from the rebellion and the empire, just kind of its own story, and the film was doing that to a point, and I was enjoying that. I thought that's really good. We're not really seeing much of the empire. We're seeing its own little story, the own world, you know, these gangsters all about, and then suddenly they bring it all the way back and go, actually no, Han Solo was all part of the rebellion along. Why does he have to be? He doesn't need to be. He was just thrown into the rebellion out of luck. It was just because Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan were in that cantina at the right time. And it just begs the question, why in A New Hope did he have such disgust towards the rebellion when he was so happy to start it 4 years ago? So I know I am knocking this film quite a bit, but overall, I didn't enjoy it. It's a fine film, but I want better than fine with my Star Wars films. I want them to be great. And sadly, this just wasn't a great film. It was fun. It was fine. There were some good performances, but overall, I left very disappointed. I think the reason for this film's failure at the box office as well as critically, is I think the marketing campaign hasn't been good. People don't know this film is out. I think people are getting Star Wars fatigue, especially after The Last Jedi, and having 2 Star Wars films in 6 months, as well as obviously the general audience were very mixed on The Last Jedi, and for this film to then come out, which was kind of a risky film as people felt it was quite pointless, was probably not the best time, as well as Infinity War and Deadpool 2 being out the same time as this film. This film probably should have been pushed back to June, maybe even July, and it would have fared a lot better at the box office. But this does put Star Wars in an interesting place now. We're starting to see actually Star Wars isn't a money maker. Sometimes people won't go and see just bang average films. They want good films. They want interesting stories. So it'll be very interesting to see where they go with the solo films, as in the expanded films. There's talk of a Boba Fett film by James Mangold, which sounds fantastic. They need to get great directors in. I would love to have seen Phil Lord and Chris Miller's Han Solo film, but sadly we got Ron Howard. Ron Howard is a fine director, but he's not great. He hasn't done many good films of late, so I'd like to see a new director with fresh ideas, someone who wants to make different film, kind of like Rian Johnson, and just go from there. So it could be interesting to see. Maybe they'll put these films on ice. Solo Star Wars Story does set up sequels, and we probably won't be getting those sequels. It's a shame because obviously, spoiler alert, Darth Maul was in this film, but I don't think they will expand on these films. The audience hasn't connected with them, so I think it's time to go in a different direction, learn from this lesson, and try and get Star Wars back on track. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked my thoughts on the Han Solo film. If you want to leave a comment, please do. Let me know what you thought. Did you think it was a good film, bad film? Don't really care. And always, please like, please subscribe if you are enjoying this content. So thank you very much. Bye bye.